sending emails in a specific way and you didn't know it, and you're hitting them with an email in a specific way, it's going to make that whole process more difficult, and you would have never known that that's what's going on their end. So it's like, hey, what can I do to do this better? Or like, hey, what are some things that I absolutely shouldn't do that, you know, make you peeved or like have been difficult in the past? And a lot of times they will either be like non-existent or things that are super easy to work through, but it's just another one of those aspects of like, hey, I'm proving to you that I'm a partner to you and that I'm willing to help meet you where you are so that this process is going to be better. And it's one of those things that I never thought about until I got into more of the meat of my career and trying to understand this stuff, is like, why are some of these projects being a little more derailed? And it's just one of those people things that you kind of learn to like pick up on a little better and just make sure that you're meeting someone where they are in this process. The other question that I will usually bring up, and this is more of a statement, is just more is better. And it's funny because I inevitably get this question in almost every project that I start. And it's always just like, hey, what do you need from us in order to get started? And I'm just like, whatever you can give me, whatever you have access to, just lay it all on me. Because what I've experienced in the past is maybe, you know, and this is also related to that front loading question before of, maybe you're having to design a lot of the stuff or create something specific at the last minute. And now all of a sudden you realize in the thick of this project, you're coming down to the wire. I don't have certain assets that I need in order to keep moving. Now you have to interrupt your entire flow in order to then go communicate with someone in that moment and try and get them to get you what you need as fast as possible. And usually what happens is they're not going to be able to do that. And so now you're you know, pushing timelines, and you've broken your flow, you're out of the process, and everything just gets infinitely more difficult. So with that front loading kind of thing that I brought up before, I'll usually say, give me whatever you have and I'll sift through it. And then I'll let you know if there's things that I feel like are missing, or maybe there's file types that I don't have that I need. Because if you can do that work up front, it makes the creation process after the fact so much easier. You don't have to break your flows while you're in the middle of working on things. You don't have to ask for more stuff. You just have everything you need up front, and you can get it whenever you need it. And the other thing that's really interesting about this too is, you know, it'll create these instances where you might get these little golden nuggets of information out of this that you otherwise would have never seen. So I'll relate it back to that kind of that whiskey project again. I was just asking them a bunch of questions about like, how did your brand start and where did you come from, and you know, what makes you different and all this stuff. And you kind of get them talking about all these things, and you get more of this kind of brain dump of all this stuff that you otherwise would have never heard. And in that process, you can kind of start to pick up on like maybe little words that they're using more often, or references toward different brands that they like, or things like that that you otherwise